pledge of allegiance to the flag is a pledge to the ideals of our forefathers, the men who fought and died in the building of this great nation. It is a pledge to fulfill our duties and obligations as citizens of the United States, and to uphold the principles of our Constitution. And last but not least, it is a pledge to maintain the four great freedoms cherished by all Americans: freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom from want, and freedom from fear. America! America! I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Stand at ease, soldier.
Morning.
Good morning, Bob.
Morning.
How are you?
Doing good, real good.
That's
Yes.
great.
Yes.
Great to be with you. You were listening to that this morning. Do you want to give your name first of all, Bob? And
I'm Bob Funt from Biglerville, Pennsylvania.
Biglerville, Pennsylvania. I'm Pastor Ken Reid and pastor of Mountaintop Ministries, and we're coming towards Memorial Day, and I really felt it was important to spend some time and to honor the people that have died. We're here in the Oakside Community Park of Biglerville. What a beautiful place.
Yes, beautiful.
Yeah, we used to come here years ago, Bob, put on gospel sings.
Yep.
And years ago. And I know some people that actually gave their heart to the Lord in here.
They do it during the summer months.
They still do it, don't they?
For 8 weeks during the
Yeah,
summer.
isn't that great? So anyway, you attend our church at Mountaintop Ministries, and that's in the Buchanan Valley, halfway between Gettysburg and Chambersburg off of Road 30. We're happy to have you there.
Well, I'm glad to be there. It's been there about 14 years.
14 years.
Yes.
That's great. I'd say you're almost a permanent fixture there.
Close to it, anyhow.
Tell me about what's Memorial Day mean to you, Bob?
You reflect back on your days 52, 53 years ago when I was serving. You grew up with a bunch of kids. We were kids then, 18, 19 years old, and now we're all in our 70s. And you look back, friendship we made, but also we remember the people who didn't come back. There was too many people that died back in the 60s in Vietnam. And we honor them. We also honor all those who have served between the beginning of this country until today, and those who are still serving today. We have to remember those people. And
Where did you serve, Bob?
I served on the USS Montrose. I have a picture of it.
Why don't you get that picture? Ladies and gentlemen, while Bob's getting that picture, let me remind you that the flag flying is a symbol of the freedoms that we enjoy. The freedom of speech, the freedom of religion, the freedom from want, and the freedom from fear. And let me remind you, I just would like to ask you, do you think any of those freedoms are in jeopardy today? Those freedoms did not come free. People paid with their life's blood for those freedoms. And I ask you, I don't think I have to answer this question. I ask you, do you think any of those freedoms are in jeopardy today? We need to stand up and be strong as Christians especially and say, I'm going to hold on to my freedom. People gave their life for this freedom, and I'm going to hold on to it, and I'm not going to let anybody take it away. Just a thought of the morning, okay? Just a thought of the morning. My freedom that I have inside my heart was bought and paid for by Jesus Christ. It wasn't free. He died for it. Back to Bob Funt at the Oakside Community Park in Biglerville Pennsylvania. Bob, what you got there, buddy?
Well, first of all, I enlisted in the Navy. Well, basically, I went and saw the Navy recruiter the day I graduated from high school. We had practice in the morning. I went and saw the Navy recruiter in the afternoon, graduated that night. When we enlisted back in '66, it was actually called a 4-month deferment. So I really didn't go into the Navy until November of '66. Following boot camp at Great Lakes, Illinois, I was stationed to the USS Montrose, APA 212. APA stands for Amphibious Personnel Attack Transport. I have a picture of it. She was commissioned in November of 1944. I went aboard in February of '67 as a seaman apprentice. And I remember the first day we pulled out of port. I went aboard the night before. The next morning we pulled out for Vietnam. As we cleared the Point Loma, the waves started getting higher and we started rocking. And next thing I knew, I learned you never puke into the wind. I served on board the Montrose for 2 years, 9 months, and 10 days. I called that my home. That was home. During that period of time, we had 2 8-month deployments to Westpac. Out of those, we spent 13 months in Nam. We could carry 1,400 plus troops on that ship, plus all their equipment. A crew of about 320 enlisted and about, I believe it was about 30 officers. So can you imagine that many people in an area less than 500 feet long and 60 feet wide? I mean, and for a month. It took a month to get from San Diego to Vung Tau, Vietnam. I advanced while there from seaman apprentice to seaman, and finally to a petty officer 3rd class. Was a cook on the ship.
You were a cook?
I was a cook.
Wow. That grabs my attention right off the bat.
And but even though you were just a cook on the ship,
don't say even just a cook. We all got to eat, man.
Well, whenever we would have to go to general quarters, my first tour of duty, I was stationed on a 40-millimeter gun crew as an ammo passer. Then we got later on, I was put into a damage control party, engineering. There we had to learn how to fight the fires with foam, and I remember one time we were doing maneuvers and practicing the fire in officers' country. A couple of new boots who had just come on board not too soon before that, so they had them on the hoses. Well, we would pretend we were putting fire. They didn't pretend. They turned the hoses on up in officers' country, and that's all salt water. And they drenched officers' country with salt water.
Oh my goodness.
Well, we probably spent the next week just cleaning officers' country.
What's the other picture, bud?
The other picture of me is 1968.
See if there's any difference. Oh no, I can understand. Wow.
That is the background is Hong Kong and Kowloon. Right, I'm standing on the edge of the cliff, and I think it's called Victoria Peak. And
you're a tough-looking dude there, boy.
Straight down below me is Hong Kong, and across the channel is Kowloon, which is on the mainland of Asia. Wow. Got there twice during my tours, 4 days in each time. Mm-hmm. So, but one of the things that really grabbed me when was in May. I think it was May 24th. They're coming up pretty soon on a reunion. We were off the DMZ at the mouth of the Quoc Viet River. We were landing a detachment of Marines up the Quoc Viet River. At that time, North Vietnamese coastal artillery started walking shells. You could see them coming in like this towards us. Nothing we can do because all we have is 40 millimeters. We're basically anti-aircraft. And we had a tin can with us, which is a destroyer. That tin can went full bore in towards the shore with the forward mount, and they got the artillery before they got us.
Wow.
we went up rivers in Vietnam, anywhere. I think it's about a 24-foot draft. We actually went beyond Saigon. Saigon is about maybe 30 miles inland. We go up through past Saigon to a place called Newport Piers. It's not really a pier. We would go in, and they would drop anchor, and then they would use the Mike boats. The Mike boats is if you can see this picture here, is the larger boats. And they would use 2 of those and push the ship around on the anchor chain, push it over towards the bank as far as they could. The tide would go out, we would belly in the mud, and we would unload troops. That when we were going up to Saigon, we were hauling 1,400 Royal Thai troops from Bangkok. We would go from Bangkok to Saigon, or Newport Piers, 3 days. During that 3 days, as being a cook, we did not sleep. We continued working for 3 days,
3 whole days,
non-stop, because we had to make 3 meals a day for the crew, 3 meals a day for the troops, because they didn't eat what we ate. Everything that they ate had curry in, and they had little green and red peppers that were no bigger than your little finger, and they would eat those like candy. These Thai troops. I ate 1.
that was enough.
That was it. I was drinking milk. I don't know how long to try to get that out.
Bob, I want to take this opportunity to thank you and all of the soldiers, both men and women, who served to keep us free. Freedom's never free, and to hear a soldier talk about it with pride like you do, I'm sure you value all the freedoms that are so prevalent in the United States, and people laid their lives down for them,
yes.
for them freedoms, and we ought to take that in a very serious realm. So I want to say thank you one more time, and thanks for taking this time to be on the morning program with us, okay?
Thank you, and I want to thank all those who served with me, the ones that served before me, and the ones who are serving now.
God bless you. I salute you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
God bless. Amen.
God bless.